our IFSA board. So we have here in our room, of course, me as the president. Vice President is Bora Caratas. Crispus Ongam, our executive secretary. Philip Home as our treasurer. And for our council is Damya Srivastava, our external counselor. And lastly is Faiha Azaira as our membership counselor. And now let's go to the nominations for the first voting. We're going to proceed first with the Board of Assembly. The chairperson for this General Assembly is going to be me as the president. And then the chairperson will be Bora Caratas and Faiha Azaira. And then for this General Assembly, we will have 4 minutes keeper, Sophia Jerby, Bashir Isia, Angelica Popstefanov, and Ngozi Edom. And then for our election committee, we have 2 members. We have Karen Gomez Garcia and Emmanuel Ebonolua. Now let's formally invite the guests to the General Assembly. The IFSA board has invited IFSA alumni, IFSA partners, and of course our honorary members to attend this year's General Assembly. And now let's proceed to the General Assembly proceedings and voting systems to be introduced by our Executive Secretary, Crispus Angam. Crispus?
Thank you so much, Isabel. You can go to the next slide, please. So the voting format for the General Assembly is always hybrid, with the exception of this year, since there is no in-person IFSS. This is an exception, and you should take note of that. So usually, the in-person participants are at the IFSS. Then we also have the online participants, as we have right now. So everyone can fully participate in the General Assembly, ask questions, propose changes, and both if you're online or in person. So voting happens entirely online and takes place between the GA sessions. Next slide, please. So how do you participate in the General Assembly? So as an online participant, you can raise your hand, write in the chat to ask questions. You will be granted permission when there's time for questions. Then during the General Assembly, you should avoid unnecessary interruptions and try to be attentive to all sessions. Next slide. So if you want to access the documents for the General Assembly, we have here the 35th General Assembly homepage. And also we have also created a link to access previous General Assemblies, which have taken place in IFSA. Then all the recordings will also be placed here. And I will share these links with you after the meeting. Next slide. So voting only happens online between GA sessions. And once a voting happens, it lasts 48 hours. So every LC that has paid their membership fee is eligible to vote. So meaning if your LC hasn't paid this fee, you are not eligible to vote. And every LC has 1 voting right. And there is no possibility of having a proxy vote or delegating a vote, because we strictly send these links to your specific LC's chapter email. So you can't delegate your vote. So everyone has the, ability to vote, even if you are not in person at the IFSS. But this year it's an exception, so no worries. So the quorum is calculated for every voting session. So of all the LCs that are eligible to vote, at least 25% of them should vote. And we have to have at least 30% for us to have changes in the ROPs. If this sounds unclear to you, feel free to ask they need. So 25% of the LCs which have paid membership fee, because there are those who pay the fee and still don't yet vote, but at least if 25% of those LCs vote, we can proceed. Then also 30% of eligible LCs for us to have changes in ROPs. Next slide, please. So our voting system is election by day, and we love this system because it really guarantees integrity, and also your votes are anonymous. It's also really a very simple online system. So every LC here will receive a ballot in their official IFSA email address, lc.name@ifsa.net. And this is the only way to vote. There's no any other way. If you don't yet have access to this official LC email address, please get in touch with the head of Web Commission real quick to have your login details reset, and you can have access to your account. The password is web@ifsa.net. So ballots cannot be edited after submitting. And we also have a step-by-step guide on how to use the system. Just in case you're facing difficulties with using the system, I'll share this link to you maybe in a follow-up email to guide you in the process. So during the GA, the votings will help us to approve different motions which have been raised by members. So everything raised, any change proposed in any document has to be approved by a simple majority vote. So vote in favor should be more than the votes against for us to a motion. So meaning if the votes against the motion are more than the votes in favor, then that change cannot take place because it means members have rejected it. Then in the ballot, you'll find three options. You can either approve, reject, or abstain. That's in case you don't want to vote, which is also okay. This is, of course, what we use as the default voting system. So you can approve the agenda, you can approve changes in the ROPs, you can also approve the budget which has been proposed for the next term. So this is basically a simple illustration of how the system works. So it is a slightly customized system of star voting, where you'll be able to rate candidates from 0 to 5. We assume that by when you go and vote, you have already had a look at people's motivation letter, you have watched the videos, and you attach a given value to their application. So you can rate the candidates from 0 to 5. As you can see here, someone gave Andy a rating of 4 out of 5, then gave Ben 2, gave Cassie. So you rate this based on how you value. Then at the end, there will be a total percentage generated for everyone. So whether or not your favorite can win, your vote goes to the finalists you prefer. Next slide. So here, you're going to watch a simple video on how star voting works. And yes, please proceed. I can't hear the audio, only me.
Okay, sorry, let me share again.
Runoff.
Can you hear it now?
And that's exactly how it works. Just give your favorite 5 stars, give your least favorite 0, and score the others as you like. With Star, it's easy to show your preference order and also your level of support for each candidate. It's safe to vote your conscience, and you don't have to worry about voting for the lesser of two evils or wasting your vote. Now let's see how the ballots are counted. Here's the first ballot. This voter gave 3 stars to Abby, 4 stars to Ben, 0 stars to Carmen, and 5 stars to DeAndre. Here's the second ballot. Note that this voter gave Abby and DeAndre the same score, which is permitted in star voting. We'll add these stars to the total, and we'll continue adding up the scores until all the ballots are counted. The 2 highest scoring candidates are finalists. The remaining candidates are out of the running. Now it's time for the second round of tabulation, the automatic runoff. Each ballot counts as 1 vote for the finalist each voter preferred. Let's see how many people preferred Carmen over DeAndre and vice versa. This voter preferred DeAndre to Carmen, so this vote goes to DeAndre. This voter also preferred DeAndre to Carmen. Note that their favorite candidate was Abby, but she didn't make it to the runoff round. Even though this voter's favorite couldn't win, their vote still makes a difference and goes to the finalist they preferred, DeAndre. This voter gave both DeAndre and Carmen 5 stars, indicating that they like both equally. Since this voter would be equally happy with either, this ballot is counted as a vote of no preference. This voter preferred Carmen to DeAndre, so this vote goes to Carmen. And the last voter preferred DeAndre to Carmen, so this vote goes to DeAndre. Regardless of the scores given, each ballot ultimately counts as 1 vote. DeAndre wins. DeAndre was in the top 2 highest scoring candidates, and he had the greatest number of voters prefer him over Carmen. Star voting measured how strongly voters liked DeAndre, and also how many voters supported him. So to recap, STAR stands for score, then automatic runoff. And that's exactly how it works. Voters fill out the ballot on a 0 to 5 star scale. The 2 candidates with the most stars advance to the automatic runoff. The candidate preferred by the most voters wins. Now that you know how it works, want to try out star voting for yourself? Create your own star voting polls at star.vote. And to learn more, donate, or volunteer, go to starvoting.us.
Thank you so much. It was a comprehensive one. All right, so this is basically the interface which we're going to find in our voting system. So in here, you'll find different candidates, candidate 1, candidate 2, candidate 3. So assuming, like, let's say the position is president, so you'll find different names aligned where you find candidate 1, candidate 2, candidate 3. So you go on besides of every candidate, then you give a score that you would like to award to them. So for each candidate, you can of course abstain. Then the minimum score that someone has to get elected, even when they're unopposed, like you are alone in the ballot, you should have at least two stars. And of course, you can get the highest as being 5. So let's get less than 2, then we shall reopen the call because none has qualified. Next slide. So this year, out of 145 LCs, only 54 LCs have paid the membership fee until now. So meaning we have only 54 LCs which are eligible to vote. And that is 37.24% of our chapters. This is quite a low number. So in case you have hopes of paying today, you have a chance to still vote. No worries. Next slide. I invite someone to take over here.
Belle, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Crispus, for explaining the election process. I would just like to give a brief disclaimer that we cannot close the General Assembly if we do not elect all of the direction members. So that is the President, Vice President, Executive Secretary, and the Treasurer. However, for the Council, if ever no one runs or no one is elected, then we can open an open call after the GA. So that is based on our ROPs. So now let's go to the detailed agenda. So as a summary, again, today is our first session of the General Assembly, and our second session will proceed on the 7th of August, again starting at 1 p.m. UTC plus 0. The third session, just to backtrack, the second session will focus on general IFSA decisions, such as the changes that we will make on the rules of procedure, statutes, strategy, and also the IFSA budget for 2024-2025. And for the third session, this will focus mainly on the vetting of board, head of commissions, and the IFSS organizing committee for 2026. And also this is a time for the IFSS OC 2025 to present their their updates. And for the fourth session, this is on the 11th of August, again starting at 1 p.m. UTC. We will present the next IFSA term and close the GA. And just a correction to what I mentioned, the IFSS OC 2025 will present on the fourth session, not the third. So we have sent the detailed agenda document via email, but also our secretary can send these documents again in a follow-up email in case you do not have access to it yet. And for the second session overview, again, this will take place on the 7th of August. So we will announce the results of the voting for the first session, and we will proceed to discuss the changes that you guys have proposed for the statutes and the rules of procedure. And then after a short break, we will now proceed to the discussion of the IFSA budget for the next IFSA term, discuss the changes for the IFSA strategy, which we should always do every 2 years until 2026, and discuss the proposed subcommission establishment for the next term. And we will also nominate honorary and consulting members for the upcoming term, which you can already start doing by accessing the link here on the right side of your screen, either by typing in this link, which Bora can send over in the chat, or you can scan the QR code. And just a disclaimer to please check the statutes, the ROPs, the IFSA budget, the IFSA strategy, and the subcommission proposals ahead of time so that our discussion on the 7th of August will be more efficient, and we'll just discuss the proposals that you guys will make. Now for the third session on the 9th of August, again starting at 1 p.m. UTC plus 0, we will announce the results of the second session voting, and we will now do the vetting for our direction candidates. Again, that's the president, vice president, executive secretary, and treasurer. We will have a short break, and then we will do the vetting for the council, which consists of the internal councillor, external councillor, and membership councillor. And then for the next 45 minutes, we will vet the head of commissions. And again, that is the head of partners, head of international policy, head of communication commission, and head of capacity development. And then lastly, as the last part of our agenda, we will do the vetting for the IFSS 2026 organizing committee. And the third session will end approximately around 16 o'clock UTC plus 0. So again, similar to the second session, please review the documents, the videos, and in general, the applications of our board and IFSS OC and the head of commissions applications so that you can send your questions during the vetting session. And our last GA session will be on the 11th of August, again starting at 1 p.m. UTC plus 0. We will officially discharge the previous officials for this term, announce the results for the third voting. The IFSS OC will present IFSS 2025. Please excuse the error in the screen. And then after a short break, we will present the plans for the next IFSA terms, present the officials and commissioner of the year, and then we will officially close the GA. Yes, so the minutes for last year's General Assembly is here. We will send the link in the chat, but also you can access it in the email as we have previously sent, since the QR code is not flashing now on the screen. The slides will be available on the webpage anyway after this meeting. Also, the 35th GA, we have already sent out the minutes document for this, so you can check the discussion live, and of course, provide the updates to your LC. Now let's go to our three main reports for this term. First is the annual report, the membership report, and financial report. Now for the annual report, this will be led by our Vice President, Bora. So go ahead, Bora.
So, hello everybody. Welcome again. As Belle said, we're gonna have report session, annual report, membership report, and financial report. So the first is gonna be the annual report, which is really important for IFSA family, which is including our works, our term task list, and any other events which has been taken by LCs and us and region. The annual report, as I said, is summarize the projects, events, activities completed during this term by officials, commissioners, and we can also include the region and LCs. So we can move to content because we're gonna include more stuff. So we're gonna have IFSA volunteer information, IFSA members overview, new partnerships, IFSA projects, events, publications, and IFSA strategy overview, and officials and commissioners report, and financial report finally, which will be presenting by our treasurer. So we can move to the next part. So IFSA volunteers information, this year we had about 54 officials in the position plus 19 commissioners who really actively worked and helped to us. Like next to the text, you see IFSA volunteers per region description: Asia Pacific, Southern Europe, Northern Europe, Southern Africa, Latin America, North Africa, and North America. I personally would like to say thanks to all of them who contributed a lot of things for this term. We can move to the next part. So the first, before the start, let me tell one clear thing. This is not representing all of us within IFSA, because some of them didn't fill out the form, which means we're going to have also other sections. So, but as you see, female, mostly IFSA ruled by female, we call for them queens of IFSA. And then male, you see small description, but still fine. So, and next to this, you see differences and distribution of by region per region. So you can check it. It's almost about same, but if you go to South Africa, it's almost equal. Yay! So then we can move to next. So I'm giving my space to IFSA's lovely president, and I'm gonna take back again. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Bora. Okay, now for this part that Damia and I, and also the rest of the external department and also the board have worked really hard on this term, is creating and of course maintaining our existing partnerships, but mainly creating partnerships with our partner institutions. So to start off, we signed the first MOU that we signed this year is with our partner, the Mediterranean Youth Task Force. So we signed a 2-year memorandum of agreement with them in October 2023, last year. So the objective of this partnership is to collaborate during relevant common events, which are aligned with our interests, and of course, to create new events that align with our mission, combining the two associations. And the second partnership that we have established this year is that we signed a 2-year MOU with AFPA, the Australian Forest Products Association, in December 2023 at UNFCCC COP28 in Dubai last year. So IFSA and AFPA have been collaborating on facilitating knowledge exchange and, of course, joint efforts in international events and initiatives. So as an example, this year we initiated the IFSA and AFPA internship program, which will be finalized next term. But as an overview, AFPA will be opening internship positions in Australia available for international IFSA members. So definitely this is something that we should all look forward to. However, it will be finalized next term. Now for our third new partnership, although this is not new, this is just more of a continued partnership, is with IAS, the International Association of Students from Agriculture and Related Sciences. We established a 2-year MOU with them in December 2023, again in Dubai at UNFCCC COP28. And both IAS and IFSA have been collaborating on promoting agriculture and forestry and agroforestry, agroecology, food systems among our association's members and, of course, youth in general. And we have been doing this by initiating joint educational activities and creating events during common international events like COP28 for UNFCCC, UNCBD for COP16, the World Food Forum Assembly, and we will be doing more joint initiatives in the next conferences like COP16 and UNCCD COP16. And the next new exciting partnership that we have established is a 5-year MOU with the Forest Stewardship Council, which we signed in June 2024 at the IFSA World Congress in Sweden. So the mission of this partnership is to make the FSC processes, activities, and components available to IFSA members. And we are very proud of this partnership because we are their first youth partner institution, and also FSC is the first forest certification institution partner of IFSA. So this is a milestone for both institutions. Therefore, we will open a head of FSC subcommission position for vacancy starting September 2024 for next term, which you should also look out for during the subcommission open call in September. And aside from the memorandum of understandings that we have established with our other partners, we have also established letter of agreements, which are another form of partnership. For example, we have established a 6-month letter of agreement with the School Forest Project. This is an initiative by the Forest for Tomorrow Foundation and Gymnasium Carolinum Neustrelitz, which is led by our fellow IFSA member, Alexa from LC Göttingen. So we signed the LOA in December 2023 at COP28 in Dubai. So the objective of this partnership is to create the IFSA School Forest Project, where we integrate tree learning modules into the daily learning activities of high school students in northern Germany. And the results of this project were presented during the IFSA World Congress in June 2024 at one of the plenary sessions, and it is available online if you want to check out the results. The partnership ended in June 2024 as soon as the IFSA World Congress ended. And then another new partnership that we have established this year is with Linkywood, which is an international association of private companies in the forestry sector. The partnership lasted for 6 months and it was signed in November 2023. The objective of this partnership is to collaborate on common events, including the Linkywood Conference, which gave us an opportunity to connect with private companies in the forestry sector. And they also pledged support for the IFSS Romania. The partnership ended in, sorry for the error, the partnership ended in February 2023. Now let's go to the last new partnership that we have established this term, which is with the International Union of Agroforestry. So this is a partnership that we have signed in February 2024 for a 2-year duration, and it will be valid until February 2026. So the objective of this partnership is to work jointly on the World Agroforestry Congress Youth Task Force in 2025, which is an event that will happen in Kigali, Rwanda 2025. And as you may have seen in our communication platforms, like on social media, we announced an open call for youth task force members from both IFSA and ES. So both ES and IFSA members are working together with IUAF to create side events and other engagement strategies for the promotion of youth engagement at the event in Rwanda next year. So now let's proceed to the main IFSA projects that we have done this term. So first is the IFSA Spring Course, which is the first of its kind, and this was done in collaboration with our partner institutions like Linkywood and the Mediterranean Youth Task Force. So the IFSA Spring Course is a series of learning courses, and this was done in celebration of the 2024 International Day of Forests, which is focused on forests and innovation. And we also did a series of career dinner episodes in collaboration with IFSA Sun, where we invited previous IFSA members to share their experiences as members of the association, and of course, what their careers are like after their life in IFSA. And of course, since this is one of our main activities with IFSA Sun, this will be continued in the next term. Also, our third main IFSA project for this term is the capacity building workshop, which is of course aligned with our strategy of capacitating our members. Just recently, a few days ago, we conducted the fundraising workshop to capacitate our members on how to raise funds for their LCs and also individual efforts. And in February 2024, actually a few weeks ago, we did the delegation workshop in order to guide LCs on how to better organize themselves for delegations in IFSA. And also for our webinar series, yes, we did the recipe for successful IFSA delegations, officials roundtable session, which also took place a few weeks ago to let all IFSA members know what the experiences of the board members and also head of commissions are like. And of course, also done in June 2024 was the Synergies for Sustainable Land Management webinar episode. Now let's go to the events organized by IFSA in 2023. You can see here all of the events that are organized by IFSA from the start of the term until the end of the term. You all know that IFSS in Romania is cancelled, and it is replaced with the IFSS Romania Forestry Workshop, which the OC has been contacting participants about. So you can see here the rest of the meetings that were conducted this year, including the regional meetings and interim meeting in February. Now let's go to the IFSA delegation events that we have done this term, starting with the European Bioeconomy Scientific Forum at the very beginning of the term. And at the end of this table is the UNFCCC COP28, which was concluded in December 2023. And we have another table here with our other delegation events, including the events that we would like to highlight: the UNFF 19 in New York, the IUFR World Congress in Sweden, and the FAO COFO 27 in Rome, Italy, which was conducted just a few weeks ago. And also, aside from the delegations and also the projects that we do, we also have many publications that we put out into our communication platforms, including the bi-monthly board reports, the IFSA newsletter, which is published monthly, the interim report, and of course, our delegation report. Now let's go back to Bora so that he can explain the officials report. So go ahead, Bora.
So, hello guys, I'm here again, just changed the place. So officials report, probably some of officials saw many reminds from me and it was so annoying. I know that, sorry for that. So these reports include many things, which is about their work task list, what they have done for this term and what is their expectations and the sum list. And so this main accomplishment of this term and work done beyond the position duties, because we are not just being official or commissioners, sometimes we have other tasks and workload. Can we please move the next slide? So as I mentioned before, we had almost 80 officials with commissioners around 70, 77. So like almost half of it, so wheel has been filled out at their form. Again, thanks to them. And we saw these forms and checked everything. Then there is some statistic regarding this. So we had 6 board members and 6 of them has been filled out the form, as you can see on the chart. And the Comcom's communication, it's almost done, and the CDC, it's almost done. Back, unfortunately, we couldn't hear from them, but it's fine, acceptable. Probably they were really busy. And IPC looks same. And RRs, thanks to them, they really helped to this term regarding and in terms of being active in the membership matters. So in total, 54 members has been filled out, and only like around 40% left, let's say that. So we can move another part. So should I continue or give space to you, Bill?
Yes, I can take over
Oh,
here. Now let's go ahead with the main accomplishments for the board in general. So this term, we have conducted 39 board meetings all throughout the term, starting from September until now in August. And this term, we accepted 3 new LCs, revised the statutes of 10 LCs, and then reverted it to them. And 10 are now in the process of acceptance. And over 150 people applied for official positions and commissioners throughout the term. And yes, I have represented IFSA at UNFCCC COP28 in December in Dubai, and also the IUFR World Congress in Sweden recently in June 2024. And we have also disbursed the development fund successfully this term. And there are still some applications that we are in the process of evaluating for the remainder of our term. And again, as shown earlier, we have established new partnerships. Now let's go ahead with Bora to explain the accomplishments of Comcoms. Go
so
ahead.
actually, we're gonna give space to Alexander regarding
Okay.
this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a great year, many improved processes. We've updated the ComComs 101 guideline, implemented News Factory version 6, which collects a lot better information, and also added manual templates and guidelines to the web page, the News Factory web page, because the form doesn't work sometimes. The process has also been greatly streamlined using Trello, and which has been a huge success within the ComComs team, especially News Factory. Our engagement scores have been boosted again we've increased our posts by 500, which really reflects how many opportunities and events come through ComComs. and increased impressions by about 50,000 for this year. And newsletter subscribers have increased to 1.5 thousand people, which is the cap. But we will be increasing the cap on our newsletters shortly. Also, many new design types and templates, thanks to our great design team. And our designs have got much more eye-catching and varied for all the officials and our members. And we've had several successful social media campaigns. Also, we had Canopy Conversation Season 4. With the treasurer, we've also helped set up the donations portal on the IFSA website, which will hopefully be a good source of funding. We also updated our link tree for better access to opportunities and events, because Instagram does not allow clickable links, unfortunately. And also working with the new opportunities task force, we've implemented ifsa.net/jobs for a centralized location of opportunities, which will be both internal and external. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Now for the external, we invite Damia to the floor.
Thank you. After the great success that board and comms has presented, I'd also like to present the achievements that external department did this year. Like we saw on the table previously, it's a very short summary, but it shows the big efforts that went into building 32 delegations. Those were huge delegations built over the 12 months of this term, with side events, delegation participants, social media reports, and the delegation reports as well. We had more than 115 IFSA delegates participating, whether in person or virtual, and this took a lot of effort from all the HRSCs, so big kudos to everyone. With these delegations this year, we also used different outcome channels. So typically we use Instagram and the IFSA website, but we also had a podcast this year on Spotify, part of the Canopy Conversations, I believe. And we also had technical interview uploaded on YouTube of our partner organization. So we are using more outcome channels to engage more. Like the president had presented, we signed partnership documents. These are MOUs or LOAs. So we signed MOUs with EAS, that's the agriculture peer organization, AFPA, FSC, and MYTF. We are currently working on the MOU with C4ECROF. It's almost at the stage of being complete. We've signed LOAs, that's letter of agreement with Linkywood, IUAF, School Forest Projects. Some of these have completed their term and now are over because we had successful terms with them. We are working on an LOA with SFI and OneTree.org. Along with signing partnership documents and delegation, because this involves a lot of conversations, we're also writing internship proposals and started a project with ECN, Wilderness International, AFPA. We presented one of these internship proposals as well. This will be taken forward in the next term. One big aspect which often gets overlooked is the policy or advocacy that IFSA presents. But this term, we had a good focus on that as well. So on more than 5 events, the IFSA delegates and HOSCs drafted policy statements or youth statements or IFSA statements or gave their suggestions to the policy processes to promote the voice of forestry and youth. For example, with Forest Europe, we've been talking on green jobs and capacity building of youth, which promotes it for IFSA specifically. To coordinate all of this, we've had 15 group meetings this term between PAC, IPC, and ED. This is a big task because we had the HOC positions vacant for a while, but we connected on group calls to build collaboration together. We had 3 IFSA webinars designed from ED, including the spring course, the recipe for successful delegations, and the synergies webinar. Specifically to boost the collaboration between partners. So we invite partner speakers, but also to boost collaboration between the 3 councils. So we held the webinars between the 3 councils as well. Apart from this, the HOSCs often held webinars and workshops with the partners. So we co-organized or hosted or moderated with them. We've published the event calendar on the IFSA website, so there's more easy communication. And to underscore all of this, we also have had 5 official of the month from ED this term. That's a big congratulations to the big team that works behind making these sweet delegation slides. And I'll pass the floor to Faiha.
Thanks, Damia. I'll take the floor now. For membership department, we have made quite the significant changes this year as well, thanks to the RRs as well. So first of all, we got 3 new LCs in the regions. That is IFSA AAA from Nigeria, ASK or Alnarp Student Union from the Sweden, and also IFSA LCUMM or Muhammadiyah Malang from Indonesia. And then apart from that, there are 4 RRs that awarded Official of the Month for their contribution to IFSA. That's from Northern Europe and also Asia Pacific. And then we also have 4 interregional calls to strengthen the bond between regions. So it's relatively higher as well than last term. And we managed to maintain the number of coffee hours for this term, which is 30 more. And we have an extra department meeting this term, which is 10 department meetings that is conducted each month. And then we had conducted a 3rd year of LC data collection because we wanted to make sure that the chain of the data will be maintained for the upcoming years. And hopefully we will have more participation in the upcoming year. And I will summarize it in the following section. We also proceeded the LC project of the month. However, we did get less applications than before. We got a total of 8 submissions and 5 were awarded. And the applications for this year will be published all together because some has published and some has not. So we will disseminate it later within the week along with IFSA Excellence Award. And then the next one that we have achieved is that we have developed the concept of IFSA Pen Pals and also LC Buddy. So we kind of integrate this together and we wanted to make sure that the engagement is more impactful and more in one organized project. And we also collaborate with the Language Some Commission this term as well. So thank you so much for our language team for collaborating with us. We also further implemented and improved the regional council concept. I'm very happy that last term we had 2 regions implementing this, which is Northern Europe and Northern Africa. But now 4 regions has adopted, which is Southern Europe and also Latin America. So great job for you all. And hopefully next term we could implement it all in the 7 regions. And then we also have a higher interest in IFSA officials for this term, especially looking from the membership. For example, in RRs, we have 7 applicants from AP, which is still under board assessment, and then 4 applicants for the Northern America, 3 applicants from Northern Africa, and the rest at least with 2 minimum of applicants. And the OCs, we have lots of numbers of OCs participating, around 2 until 3 applicants for like most of the regions. And last but not least, but not all, we created 2 IFSA workshops, both for RRs and members regarding delegation process and fundraising with collaboration with the internal department and also external department. And it was really a success. Lots of people were attending this. So I hope that also benefit us all. I think that's all from me. I'm going to pass the floor to the next one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bora.
Hello, guys, again. So let's jump to the commissioner's part, which was really valuable for us since they really worked too much for this term, for their officials and for IFSA's values. So we can actually give you some summary regarding this. The commissioners actually still considered as officials, but they work as commissioners of official. I know it's quite complicated, and I got a many questions regarding this, but this term they were really helping to collaborated with IFSA team and being bridge between officials and us and bring the values to us, such as like IFSA team actively participating meetings and helping them. For example, if you evaluate and if you see the IUFRO, there was a huge task forces regarding IUFROs and IFRO sessions, such as they were really active regarding digitalization and making the videos, collaboration and promotion, IFSA booth and any other stuff, developed IFSA digital materials and promotional videos and sending everywhere and helping to us. And at the same times, the commissioners not only about it. For example, if you had a commissioner, sometimes he can carry this person can carry your stuff and can help to you, and really it's really can give achievements to you and your work. We can move to next one. But at the same times, if we give it to you specific topics, and if we give it to you some significant things, for example, regarding gender and some educations, some of commissioners really work on it and contributed a lot of things. Also, IFSA's code of conduct team and any other stuff. Also, some of them helped on the climate action initiatives and led the creation of the climate action books and related things. So also academic contributions, we can say that they helped to IFSA and some of the webinar series, they helped. So yeah, in short, we really thanks to them. Also, some of them are here, not 19 of them here, but they really helped to us. And yeah, thank you to them.
Thank you, Bora. And yes, like Bora has highlighted, we give our deepest gratitude to our commissioners because without them, our work would not be possible. So thank you to our commissioners and, of course, our head of subcommissions for your amazing work this term. Now let's proceed to the membership report, which will be presented by our membership counselor, Faiha. So go ahead, Faiha.
All right, thanks, Belle. And hi again, everyone. So I'm back with the information to data collection. So you might have been aware that early in July, we have sent an information to as to fill in the LC database report, because this is very important for several reasons. First, we wanted to make sure that, we keep all the data, and we wanted to know the growth and development of our members, to see how far we have expanded, and where and how's our distribution as a member as well, like for example, the forestry faculties, our genders, our level of studies, locations, etc. And then, of course, we wanted to make sure that from this data analysis, we can further implement this for like an increased impact and also tailored actions, because we can only provide everyone here the great opportunities from IFSA if we know enough information about our members and who to give them to, because our main target to benefit is all of you. So this is why LC data collection is very important. Maybe we can go to the next slide. Yeah. So the data for this year, this is actually one of the MD evaluation as well, was collected in July 2024. And here we ask about LC members and projects organized by the LC. There are several updated information for this year. For example, we gathered data for faculty and university information, so that in the future, if anyone's have opportunities that relates directly or targeted directly to certain members with certain study program background or a certain level of study, we could directly reach them out. And then we also gather data about the study programs available from the university, and also LC partnership status. Now, and now the data has received is around 33.175%, which is relatively and clearly lesser than last term, because last term was 67.1%, and the first time we did it was actually 2 years ago, so it was like 80.5%. And if you could see the distribution that has filled in, you can see on the tables below. So we wanted to give further opportunities for this term, because we understand that the current data will not be able to represent the data collection well. We wanted to give more opportunity for you to fill in the data by the end of the month, so that we can make an appropriate analysis for the development of the LC status. And it has been sent to your email, but I will send it further afterwards. So maybe we could go next. Yeah, so some of you might have also asked about how the data was analyzed. So I'm going to make like a simple calculation simple calculation analysis. So for example, when you make a calculations for forest properties you don't measure every tree in the forest, but just a representative sample, which is a data set. And the data from the data set is further extrapolated to the whole population, which in this case is forest. So in this case, we wanted to use this similarity to like LC membership data collection, where all IFSA is considered as a forest and the LCs are individual trees. For example, we measured the percentage of the trees. Last year, for example, it's 67.1%. And then we extrapolated it to the whole forest. And the results are actually approximations. It's not the exact hard data, but that's the the projection that we're trying to make based on the statistic itself. So with that being said, maybe we can go next. Yeah. So because we haven't really received enough data for this term and we're still waiting on some parts, I wanted to show you how the impact of data collection is. And if you haven't really seen about L or LC development, LC members development, we're going to see the progress between the past 2 years. So maybe we could go next. Yeah, so these are the example of the end result that we're trying to achieve. For example, if you can see in the lower part on the right, we have a regional distribution of members in 2021 and 2022, and the left was on from last year. And we can see the growth of the members in the regions. For example, we have 21.3% members from Asia Pacific on the 2022 term, and it decreased slightly on until 13% on last year, and also along with the other regions. So in like general, the numbers are actually similar, but 8% less in Asia Pacific and 3 times more in North America. Next. Yeah, and then another thing that we also collected, as you might have noticed, is regarding the general distribution. So we wanted to know how many percentage of males and females, not because we're trying to differentiate it, but we wanted to data this so that, again, we can give the proper opportunities, if proper opportunities, if they're asking for like a specific data, and it could help us more for like empowerment agendas. So these are the data sets that we gain from males, females, those who prefer not to say, and also non-binary. You can also fill this out. And if you don't know about the exact number of these people in your LCs, you can just fill it as 0, and then we can at least have the total number of your members, because it's still going to be helpful. Next. And then these are the members according to the study levels. So we did take into account, for example, the levels of study from the bachelor's, master's, and also PhD. And we can see that the majority of our members is actually bachelor's, but that doesn't close the chance for us to have PhD students as well among us. Next. And for LC projects, we have less projects than the last 2 years. But if we can see, because in the 2022, we have more than 1,000 projects. And last year, we have around 988 projects. And this year, we recorded less than 900 projects. That is why we're going to consider the highest number from last term. And if you can see that Latin America and Northern America LCs organized many more than the last 2 years. So this is like an improvement that we have. And I'm sure every other regions has their own improvements as well. Next. Okay, so this is the graphics for the LC projects. One of the biggest achievement for this year that I also received from the LC data analysis, even for 2024, is that more international projects were conducted, both online and also offline. So that's a great achievement for all of us. And this could also be seen, the growth can also be seen from the past 2 years. We had an increment of around 6 to 7%. So that's a great thing to know. Next. Yeah, these are the differences between the online and in-person activities. We could see that the number of online and in-person participants didn't really change. or doesn't have any significant changes. And for some LCs that has submitted for this term, there's also an increasing amount of online projects, but that doesn't mean that it reduced the in-person activities. So it's in general, the number is just growing without like any significant changes of the trend. Next. Okay, so what do we gain from the additional information this term? This is something that at least we can have and analyze for now. Maybe we can go next. Yeah. So the other thing that we also receive is regarding the regional partnership status. We ask LCs whether or not they have conducted like partnerships either with the government, with other LCs, with the NGOs or other stakeholders, and these are the results. So we received that Asia Pacific has 38% of regional LCs partnership. So that's quite the hugest number in here. And also we received other numbers of LC partnerships from other LCs. And it will be great if you, for example, haven't filled in the data collection yet, to be more specific about what kind of partnership that you have been conducting, or who are you going to conduct. So we can have like a differentiation in the statistical record, for example, to who are they approaching, and we can have like a data set for this as well. Next. Yeah. And last but not least, we have received several suggestions for IFSA partnership or regional partnership 2024-2025. So just before like a short introduction, this term, we have noticed two extensive regional partnership from two regions, which is from the Asia Pacific and also Latin America. So I wanted to congratulate everyone for that. And hopefully we could increase this regional partnership level, since I think we're going to have like a different subcommission for that as well. And these are several suggestions coming from the members, which is Greenhalgh and NCF Nigerian Conservation Forum for Northern Africa, AgriSeta from Southern Africa, and MOs from Northern Europe. If you have further suggestions, please write it down in the dataset. So yeah, I think that's all from me, and I'm going to give it back to Bill. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Faiha, and thank you everyone for taking the time to listen to all of our updates and accomplishments. Before we take a break, we would just like to briefly mention a few points that were going on in the chat. So first is regarding all the links and all of the disclaimers that we've mentioned during this first session. We will we will include in the follow-up email after this meeting. And also apologies for not including this updates and the accomplishments for CDC. So just for everyone's information, we recently dismissed the internal counselor for this term. However, we will include this slide to be presented by the head of CDC next session on the 7th of August, so that we are all updated with the accomplishments of CDC and internal department in general. So yes, now we are 7 minutes ahead of time. So let's take a brief break. So get your coffee, go to the bathroom, and let's meet back here in 15 minutes at 2:30 UTC plus 0. And we will do our Q&A session at the end. So see you guys in 15 minutes.
It's a good tool to see how spread IFSA is all around the world. Then for the other budgets, you can see that there sometimes is even some money left, sometimes not all of the money was required within these different budgets. Then we can go to the next expenses slide. There you can see some other interesting expenses, for example, the development fund, where we still have relatively much money left, and also during the officials fund. That is due to the cancellation of IFSS. We plan on
supporting a lot of people to go to the IFSS, but unfortunately now we cannot bring people or not as many people to the IFSS due to the cancellation. And then maybe for next term head of subcommission, it might be interesting that there is a gender project fund that is only eligible to be spent on projects that concern genders. There's 2,500, so it will just stay there until someone requests this money. And also for tree learning, there is money that was not requested. Then we can go to our income. No, to the expenses from last year. Yeah, so you saw that the closing date of last year's budget was already in August, but there were still some money left, for example, for the board and officials meeting fund and the development fund and the officials fund that still has had to be paid out. So this one also appears in our balance of this year, but was not part of the budget that I presented you just before. Now we can come to the income. There we still received some membership fee from last year that was mainly paid during the IFSS. And then this year we also got a lot of income generated by the membership fee that we increased last year, and that really helped us balance a bit more of the budget that we can spend mainly to support people to go to conferences and to go to the regional meetings. Then this year we implemented something new that you not have seen in the years before, and we wanted to be a bit more transparent about the expenses that are done in behalf of the board. And you can see here the different positions, and I will just slightly read aloud that there was funding for COP 28 and for a Youth for World Congress, for example, for the president. And you've seen before that we signed a lot of MOUs during COP28 and also during a Youth for World Congress. So I think it's a really important topic that our president gets a lot of funding there to be able to get in contact with our partners. And you can also see that partners support us even to directly send people from IFSA to the different conferences. The same was, for example, for the treasurer and for the external counselor to go to several external events, and also within IFSA, we had the vice president and the executive secretary who received money to go to different internal and external events. Now we can continue. Now, maybe interesting for you all is also the development fund that is used to support people from all around the world, so that individuals can go to conferences or join to the regional meetings, but also to support local committees in implementing projects. Our total budget, including some donations from the auctions, was now about 9,000 euros this term. The sum we allocated was 7,500, but unfortunately there were also a lot of local committees that did not request their money, so we could not pay all of them. So that our sum that we paid out is only about 5,000 euros. We have still an amount to pay left of about 600, and maybe there might be still some local committee projects from this year that we want to support. So that's why there is an X. And then you can see how we split up this year's money for the development fund. We had individuals that were funded with 2,200 euros, where we had partial funding always, so that we usually have the aim that we only cover 80% of the expenses, so that everyone also maybe appreciates a bit more when they also pay some money on their own to get to the conferences. We had interim, we had COP28, we had regional meetings, and we had the IFSA World Congress that we funded for individuals. And then for local committees, we had 5 big events, mainly in Nepal this term. They were really active this term and had great applications and implementations of their projects, so that we were happy to fund a lot of projects this year in Nepal, but also in the Philippines and also in Germany, where we in total spent 2,800 on the local committees, and then the total, as before, about 5,000. Now we can see how it was split up during the between the regions. They can see that Asia Pacific got about 50%, and Latin America and Southern Europe about 25% of the amount that was really paid out. But for the money allocated, then that unfortunately was not requested. There we had a bit more balanced percentage and also more distribution to the other regions that are not displayed here. That's it from my side, and I hand back to Belke.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Philip. Yes, so in case you guys have questions on the financial report and the development fund part of Philip's presentation, then feel free to collect your questions once again, and we will answer them at the end of the session. So now to proceed with what we will vote on for this session. Again, as we have shown earlier, we have nominated our Board of Assembly, our election committee, and we have presented our detailed agenda for the second, third, and fourth session of our General Assembly. So if you approve, if you abstain, or if you reject from our proposals, then you can vote on the ballot until the 7th of August, 8 o'clock UTC plus 0. And again, the results will be shown on the 8th of August, which is the next GA. And again, the ballots will be sent out to the LCs who are eligible to vote. So please, again, check with the treasurer and yes, with the treasurer if you are eligible to vote on behalf of your LC. Bora, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, so another important point. Guys, these emails will be sending to your LC's official account, not your personal or not your LC's secondary email addresses. It should be ending with lc.net, blah, blah, blah. So if you cannot reach out these email addresses, please reach out me or Faya or Alexander. We're gonna be resetting your LC's email addresses. It's so common problem right before the GA. Every year it's happening. So please, 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 if you cannot reach out, and please let us know, then we're gonna be resetting.
Yes, thank you, Bora. Okay, and just a few reminders in addition to what Bora has said. Again, if you cannot access your LC email, because that's where all of the information will be sent, including the follow-up emails, the ballots, most importantly, please contact mainly, of course, our head of Communication Commission, Alex. But if you are in contact already with Faiha or Bora as our membership counselor and vice president, then feel free to reach out to them. And also, please vote. Again, check your LC emails for the ballot, and please discuss with your LC what you will collectively decide on the proposals. And next meeting for the second session, as we previously mentioned, we will be going through all of the proposals for the ROPs, statutes, IFSA budget, IFSA strategy, and the subcommission proposals. So please make sure to check the documents ahead of time so we make our discussions more efficient given the time restrictions. And the third point is the form for the honorary and consulting member nomination is already open, as we have previously shown in one slide, but we will include this in the follow-up email so you can already nominate. So you can start doing that now, and for the next meeting, we will go through all of the proposals. And lastly, the second session of the GA, again, will be held on the 7th of August, 2024 from 1 p.m. UTC +0. So again, please check the agenda document for the specific time and the topics that will be presented during each of the sessions. So that's all for our reminders. Again, this is the overview of the agenda for second GA session. And then you can also access this in the follow-up email and in the agenda document. Now let's go ahead with the Q&A session. Alexander has collected the questions and also our minutes takers. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or write them in the chat. But okay, let's go first with the questions that Alex have collected. Alex, go ahead with the questions.
I believe you've already answered this one in the chat, but just for everybody, can you explain the difference between an MOU and a LOA?
Okay, so thank you, Alex. The Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, is more binding. It is more long-term compared to the Letter of Agreement, which is shorter term. So for example, with major partner organizations like FSC or C4ECRAF, we are working towards an MOU with them. However, with our low priority partner institutions, like for example, as we mentioned earlier, Wanty.org or Linkywood, we established a letter of agreement with them if our commitment with them or our engagement is only for the shorter term. So usually MOUs span for 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, sometimes even 10 years, like with IUFRO. But letter of agreements are shorter term, like 6 months up to 1 or 2 years. So yeah, any other questions, Alex? Or can we go ahead with live questions?
Yeah, I had a question, but I think I can take this. Someone said I hardly see videos get posted on each platform. It's from Israel Philip. Reels will reach a more diverse audience faster. So is there no videos that can be edited of IFSA and forestry? And also, so we don't have a central repository for videos, but hopefully I'll still be involved in the internal department next year. This is something that I'd like to set up, and guidelines on videos that come from our meetings. And also it would be nice to set up a content creation task force. The reason we don't do many videos is because we really don't have the capacity to do it. But if you do have experience in video editing, then feel free to apply for Comcom's department, because it would be really great to have more experience in that area. And yeah, and those were the only 2 questions I saw. Someone did ask earlier if they could ask questions, but I didn't see them post the question.
Yes. Also, in addition to what Alex said, our head of subcommissions positions will be open in September 2024 for the new term and will be evaluated by the new board. But now, currently, the open call for board and head of commissions are open until the 7th of August. Sorry, the 8th of August. Yes. Yes, go ahead. Please raise your hand if you have any questions. And yes, we still have time to address them.